Hey guys, Riley here, back with another video, and this is part 2 of my bike build video. So last video we learned how to put pedals, cranks, chainring, and bottom bracket on. So this video we're going to be putting on the dropouts onto the frame, along with the back wheel and the chain. And then we're also going to learn how to properly fully tighten these chainring bolts, because last time we only did them snugly, so that we can properly adjust them with the tension of the chain this video. Okay. So the parts I'm going to be using are the KMC X8.93 chain. So the reason why I'm using this chain is because it's relatively low profile. You can always trust KMC products. You know, they're the main company that makes chains, and it was one of the only ones that was available. So yeah. Then the dropouts are the dropouts that come with the GT frame. And then I will be using Chris King hub laced to a Sun Envy rim with Answer carved tires and a 16-tooth Krupe cog. So let's start with the dropouts. So make sure that when you get your GT, that in the box there are 2 dropouts, because what happened to me was there was a problem during shipping and one of the dropouts flew out of the box. So when I received my frame, I only had 1 dropout, so I had to wait 3 weeks before the backup pair came in. So make sure that when you receive your frame, you have 2 of these in there and all the hardware necessary. So close up to the frame. So as you can see, for the slots where the dropouts are inserted, I put a bit of grease on there just to help it slide a bit smoother when installed. So first, you're going to take 2 of these little things and drop them in there. Put the dropout into the frame, and then use the washers that come with the dropout set. Now thread it in loosely first. And then you're going to need a 4mm Allen key and a 5mm Allen key. So the 4mm is for the tension bolt, which goes in the back, right through here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the tension, well, the dropout to wherever you would like it. I'm going to leave a bit of space there. I'm going to put mine about right there, so that when I put my chain on, I'll have a bit of wiggle room, so I'll be able to slam it all the way back. All right, so. And now repeat it with the next side. All right, so now that we have both dropouts on, we are going to put the back wheel on. Oh, and also these Chris King hubs, I have profile titanium bolts on there as well. Nothing special about the titanium bolts, it's just they were the only ones that were long enough to reach through the dropouts of my old frame. Just pop the wheel in there and thread the bolts loosely first, and then grab an 8mm Allen key and just snugly tighten these. And that's pretty spot on first try. So now we can keep these tight, and we don't have to leave the axles loose because the quick change system, it slides by itself. So what we're going to do is check to make sure the wheel is completely straight, and I can see that this side can come back just a slight bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 4mm Allen key. These are already loose, so make sure these are loose before you try moving the dropout. And just give it a couple turns like that, and the wheel is dead straight now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 5mm Allen key and we're going to crank these down. Do the other side. So what you can realize here is right here I left a bit of space so that when we put the chain on, we're going to put the chain on a bit loose so that we still have some wiggle room, so that it's not in, you know, set in stone where it is. Because once you cut a chain, kind of only got to cut it once. Measure twice, cut once. Now next off we're going to be doing the chain. So roughly, you're going to measure the chain with your gearing. You're going to come around to the bottom and see roughly where it lines up. So with a master link, we're going to be cutting it like that. So mark where you're going to be cutting it with your thumb and your pointer finger. Keep that marked, and you're going to get your chain breaker out. This is a Park Tool chain breaker. You're going to make sure that the pin is going straight through the pin of the chain, so you don't break the pin on the chain breaker, because they are very easy to break if you don't use it properly. And voila. So, actually we're going to be taking this last link off because we are putting in the master link, which is a lot easier than using the chain breaker to put the chain back together. Master links are much easier to deal with. And master links will, if you buy a KMC chain, will most of the time, will all the time, come with the KMC chain. But I'm not sure what other brands use a master link. So leave it at the bottom like that. And there are different kinds of master links, different variations of them that are used for different models of chains. So you can see this one just has the two sides to it. Some have 3 different parts to it. So to make things easier, we're just going to bring the chain around here. Quickly clamp it together with a master link. And pull it together. So you can see that's a bit tight. We're just going to loosen the dropouts quickly. Until we get it right. So now that we're done that, we are now going to pop the chain on, like so. And as you can see, that's pretty perfect the first time. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose. You want it to be just perfect. That's a bit too tight. So we are just going to loosen that up just a bit right now. Just give the bolts a little tap. With a soft rubber end. Pretty much perfect. Yeah, help it along. Now it's a bit loose. So it's just trial and error until you get it right. Keep going up by little increments and even on both sides when you're going up. Now, next thing we're going to do is now we are going to completely make sure that these bolts on the side are tight so that the wheel is not sliding around while we are riding. The next thing we're going to do now, because the chainring bolts are not completely tightened, we're going to tighten them properly using a 5mm Allen key and a chainring bolt wrench. So what we're going to do first is we're going to loosen them up to, oh wait, these are not Allen key chainring bolts, these are Torx chainring bolts. So we are going to get our Torx tool out, and we're going to get out our T25, which is this one, I believe. T20. It's hard because they're not labeled on the side. I think we got it. We got it. Perfect. Okay, so these are the Shimano chainring bolts. So these ones use a T25 instead of a 5mm Allen key. So you're going to take your Torx wrench and you're just going to loosen them up. And what we are going to do is, now that they're loose, we're going to turn the cranks around both ways so that the chainring sets evenly. Then what we're going to do, without touching the chainring, is we're going to tighten them in a X pattern. So you're going to go from this one across, then to this one across, so that everything tightens evenly at the same time. And for these ones, we don't actually need the chainring tool. We can just squeeze them down. Make sure these are nice and tight. And like that, you're gonna have a nice smooth rotation with it. And that's that. So now we have the whole back end of the bike set up. We have the whole drivetrain set up. Next thing that we're going to be covering next video is we are going to be covering the front wheel, the forks, the headset, the stem and the bars, and then also the brakes. So I hope to see you guys again. And yeah, peace out.